I could never have imagined that a day meant to be the happiest for one family would turn into a nightmare for me, one I would never forget. The story began the day my husband and I were invited to his sister's wedding. I was 9 months pregnant, and any day could be the day I went into labor. My doctor had told me to take it easy, but my mother-in-law insisted on my presence. It's an event that only happens once in a lifetime, she said with that look that left no room for objections. The moment we entered the hall, felt her cold, scrutinizing gaze. She had never liked me. In her eyes, I was never worthy of her son. Behind every smile of hers was a silent judgment. The wedding was grand, loud music, laughter, people dancing and clinking glasses. I tried to enjoy the moment for my husband's and the family's sake, but deep down, I knew I didn't belong there. And then it happened. During a loud toast, I felt a sharp pain in my lower abdomen. A second later, warm fluid. My water had broken. My heart raced, panic tightening my throat. I wanted to call my husband immediately, but before I could say anything, my mother-in-law appeared in front of me. Her eyes narrowed, and she hissed quietly but coldly, "Don't you dare cause a scene now. You'll ruin the most important day of my daughter's life." I was in shock. "I need to go to the hospital. It's starting," I croaked, but she only shook her head. "You'll wait." Before I realized what was happening, she grabbed my arm, dragged me to a small restroom near the kitchen, pushed me inside, and locked the door from the outside. I heard the click of the lock, then her footsteps fading away. I stood there frozen. The contractions grew stronger and more frequent. Breathing was becoming difficult. I pounded on the door, screamed, begged for help. Outside, laughter, music, the clinking of glasses. The smell of strong cleaning chemicals in the cramped room made it hard to breathe. My heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else. Time passed painfully, slowly. Each new contraction tore a scream from me. I could only think of one thing. What if my baby doesn't survive? Tears streamed down my face. My hands hurt from hitting the door. Suddenly, footsteps. A voice, muffled by the wood. "Hello, is someone in there?" It was Lisa, my husband's younger sister. With my last bit of strength, I shouted her name. She opened the door and froze. Her eyes darted to the wet floor. My pain-twisted face, and she understood everything. "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" she cried out, grabbing me and helping me out. We rushed into the hall. My husband saw me, and in his eyes, I saw shock, fear, and fury. He ran to me, lifted me into his arms, while Lisa called an ambulance. "Who locked you in there?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Your mother," I managed to say. He carried me out of the hall, and behind us, the music kept playing as if nothing had happened. In the car, he drove without stopping for red lights. At the hospital, the doctors said the situation was serious, every minute mattered. But thanks to the quick help, our baby was born healthy. Later, when my husband learned that his mother had locked me up intentionally to not ruin the wedding, something inside him broke. He demanded an explanation, but she showed no sign of remorse. On the contrary, she accused me of exaggerating. At that moment, we decided to cut all contact with her. We moved to another city, changed our numbers, and started a new life. Sometimes I wonder how a person can be so cold. But every time I hold my child, I realize I was strong enough to save them, even if it meant leaving an entire family behind. A year had passed since we left the hospital. Our life had become calmer, but the past still found ways to remind us of itself, sometimes completely unexpectedly. At first, it was little things. A casual remark from a neighbor, a fleeting glance on the subway that reminded me of my mother-in-law's cold eyes. Then came a phone call from my husband. "It's my mother. She wants to see us," he said, his voice tense. My heart skipped a beat. "Are you sure we want that?" I asked cautiously. "I don't know. She says she wants to talk. Maybe we should just listen," he replied. I hesitated, but I knew we were strong enough to face her. We arranged to meet at a small cafe, a neutral place from our old city. When she saw us, I immediately recognized that old self-satisfied smile I knew so well. But this time, she wasn't the powerful figure she used to be. I had learned to control my fear, to keep my voice steady. "Why did you do it back then?" my husband asked, calm but firm. Her eyes flashed, as if she wanted to defend herself. I just wanted everything to be perfect. You're exaggerating, everything is overblown. I felt my stomach tighten, but I took a deep breath. Perfect at the cost of life and health? At the cost of my child? That's not exaggeration. That was dangerous. For a moment, silence hung in the air. She lowered her eyes, but no words of remorse followed. I realized that some people will never take responsibility. After that meeting, we made our final decision. No contact, no justifications, no explanations, just life. And we kept our word. But life brought other challenges. I returned to work, writing articles, advising young mothers, and gradually building a professional network. I met women with similar stories: violence, control, manipulation. I listened to their experiences, shared my own, and understood that our stories connected us and made us stronger. My husband and I grew even closer. We learned to solve conflicts together, to make decisions that strengthened our family. Our child became the link that reminded us every day of what truly mattered: safety, love, and trust. One evening, we sat together on the balcony, our child sleeping peacefully in the room, and watched the city lights. I leaned my head on his shoulder. You know, sometimes I still think about that wedding. The panic, the fear. I do too, he said. But I also think about how strong you were, how strong we've become together. I smiled. Yes. We didn't just survive, we built a new life. And that's worth more than any wedding, any so-called perfect celebration. In that moment, I felt truly free from the past, from fear, from people who had tried to control us. Our story wasn't just a story of pain, but of survival and triumph. And as night fell and the city lights sparkled, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, strong and unshakable. Our family, our child, our love, that was all that mattered.